I figured it would just die down and nobody would care. And you know what? It did for a couple of weeks until Aaron Carter decided to make everything worse. Hi, welcome back to me talking about whatever I want. Today I want to talk about Aaron Carter, aka the most embarrassing celebrity I've had the misfortune of hearing about recently. I already knew this guy was bad from some stuff that was happening a couple weeks ago, but recently he's just gotten even worse. However, of course, I want to do a comment shout out for my last video. This one goes out to Butterball Auto Customs, who says, I'm convinced D'Angelo just doesn't sleep. Well, as I'm sure you noticed, my bed is always made, and that is in fact because I don't use it. So who in the world is Aaron Carter? You know the Backstreet Boys, right? Yeah, he wasn't in there. Aaron Carter is the younger brother of one of the Backstreet Boys members, Nick Carter. So Aaron Carter also tried to join in the music scene, releasing such masterpieces as Aaron's Party. That was literally the name of the album. Basically, he only got famous because his brother was famous, and it became largely apparent that he was completely untalented, so that's why he's not famous anymore. But I guess he didn't get the memo because he has all the ego of a major celebrity with none of the relevance. And the result is just a sad man doing sad things on the internet, which I can kind of relate to, except he's using his power to harass people. Enter JoJo's art. JoJo's art is the polar opposite of Aaron Carter, mostly in the fact that he actually has talent and is likable. You may have seen some of JoJo's art floating around before because it's really good. He paints a lot of lions and space, and altogether it's just pretty epic stuff. Well, I guess Aaron Carter thought so too, because this is why everything went south. So apparently Aaron's launched this clothing brand, which I'm going to discuss in a bit, but in promoting that brand on Twitter, he used one of JoJo's pictures. Now, this is obviously not right because he's literally profiting off of someone else's artwork, but being completely fair, I can understand seeing some cool picture and thinking it's cool and using it to share something that you also think is cool. I wouldn't use someone's art like that without giving them credit, but if you're not an artist, I can understand how you wouldn't see anything wrong with that until the artist politely lets you know. So JoJo politely let him know, hey, Aaron Carter, you are using my artwork to promote your merchandise. I have not given you permission to do so. My art is being commercially exploited by people on a daily basis. We artists have rights too. I'd really appreciate if you could retweet this so he'll see it. I have to say, that's a lot more polite than I would have been. I would have been like, yo, Aaron, if you're gonna steal my art and try to make money off of it to promote your lousy merchandise brand, could you at least make sure the merchandise looks good? I've never seen somebody use a dollar bill to promote a penny, but that's probably why it's a good idea that I wasn't the one getting my artwork stolen. So as professional as JoJo was, what do you think Aaron did? Let's play a little guessing game, okay? Welcome to my game show. Did he A, apologize and take the artwork down? B, block JoJo and refuse to stop using his art? C, quietly remove it without making it into a big deal? Or D, began insulting JoJo and everybody related to him in a desperate attempt to gain some quick relevance? If you chose D, congratulations. You've used the internet before. You should have taken it as a compliment. Okay, a fan of mine sent this to me. Oh, here they go again. The answer is no. This image has been made public and I'm using it to promote my clothing line. Guess I'll see you in small claims court. Okay, one of my initial questions is, who exactly is going to court? Like, are you assuming JoJo is going to sue you? Is that like a joke about how he could only do it via small claims court? Are you threatening to sue JoJo because you used his artwork? Do you think that once something becomes public, that immediately makes it public domain? Because that would make all of your music free for me to use without giving you any credit or revenue. Then again, that one doesn't make any sense because even Aaron should know that his music was so trash, nobody would want to use it for anything. Well, because this happened on Twitter, of course, Twitter had a lot to say about that. There were a lot of people siding with JoJo for obvious reasons, but I was shocked and appalled to learn that apparently this Aaron Carter guy has stans. You do realize that once an image is out publicly, that it can be used by anyone, right? Where do I begin? It's not even like I would say this person has no understanding of copyright law. It's just like this person has no understanding. If something doesn't belong to you, generally you shouldn't be using it. But even at that, At the point where you do use it, and the original creator is asking you not to because they don't appreciate being profited off of, why would you react this way? This person said, I've actually seen this photo many places. Just saw it attached to a quote 2 days ago on Facebook. So maybe you should start tagging your art if you don't want it stolen. I really appreciate how this person put stolen in quotes as if to imply that it was less stolen than it actually was, because it was in fact stolen. Yes, officer, I guess I did break the law because I stole that stuff. But I mean, that aside, it was tagged. JoJo put a watermark there right on the bottom just to avoid situations like this. So really don't know what this person's talking about. Wait, so he's not actually using your artwork on his clothing line and selling it? He just happened to tweet out a pic of it on a post about his clothing line because he liked it? This seems like a huge overreaction, bub. It's Twitter. People share random pics all the time. Mindy Robinson, way to let everybody know that you have no talent and no creative bones in your body. I think if you had even a shred of creativity, you would understand that the things that people create are not just random pictures, especially something as detailed as an illustration. I really don't know where she was trying to go with this, but she didn't get there. So thankfully there weren't that many tweets in his favor. It's just such a shock to my system that an artist like Aaron Carter would not see something so wrong as cheating another artist out of his rightfully earned revenue. But that just goes to prove that Aaron Carter has no musical talent. I mean, if he cared about artistry at all, he would immediately understand why the situation is wrong. I think even if you don't draw, you would understand why the situation is wrong. Thankfully there were some good tweets in there, like who's Aaron Carter? That's my favorite one, because honestly, same. I have a huge issue with you referring to Aaron Carter as a celeb. I never really hear Aaron Carter's name brought up unless it's some sort of drama. I guess he's famous enough that when he does bad things we care, but he's not famous enough for anybody to stream his music, so that one's kind of on him. This person said, okay, so if I use an Aaron Carter song in a video, don't copyright claim the video because the song has been made public. To which this other person said, why would you want to ruin your video like that though? Seriously, if you think I'm exaggerating, go listen to this man's music. It's a reminder of a dark time. Ultimately though, my entire opinion on this situation is summed up by this one tweet. I can see retweeting the pic in the first place. No harm, as I see it. Not like he's gonna start searching all over Google to see who the creator was. Where I find the problem is when the creator made himself known and the artist chooses to ignore him and even mock him. And the thing about it was, this blew up. It went super viral. There was even a Forbes article about it, and I chose not to talk about it just because I didn't really have anything to add to that situation. Thankfully, it was very cut and dry who was in the wrong, and I figured it would just die down and nobody would care. And you know what? It did for a couple of weeks, until Aaron Carter decided to make everything worse.
Did you ever square that shit away with that artist, with the Lions? Or you just
No. I will not acknowledge anybody who has that kind of attitude. He told me, oh, I need to buy a canvas of his from him for $10,000, hang it up in my house. They're going to try to keep using it because they want to use me for clout. For his little story that he got on his Instagram is the most attention he'll ever receive for the rest of his life.
His little story he got on Instagram is the most attention he'll ever receive for the rest of his life. Well, now I'm mad. How in the world are you going to say that when you're the most irrelevant person I could name? His little story that you're talking about, it's the most attention he's going to receive, got more attention than anything you've done in the past 10 years ever has. At this point, a new generation of people knows who you are because of JoJo's art. You owe him any shred of relevance that you have right now. Half a shred. Shred of a shred. So this little live stream that he was doing that 300 people were watching, by the way, I guarantee you if I go live right now, more than 300 people would watch it. If I go live on Instagram, more than 300 people would watch it. JoJo could upload a video of him sneezing and it would get more attention than your live streams. I mean, at what point can we just call it what it is? Slander. He claims that JoJo tried to extort him for $10,000. First of all, do you have $10,000? I feel like if JoJo did extort Aaron Carter for $10,000, that wouldn't work in the first place. You know, I'm not gonna go try to extort Burger King for a Big Mac. That's just not something they have. And see, I like this JoJo guy because he showed up with actual receipts. So I'm gonna put the tweets up on screen where you can see that JoJo was calmly asking for compensation for having his work stolen. There were no demands, there was no mention of $10,000 whatsoever. If anything, Aaron Carter is lucky that he's not being sued right now, because if this was me, we wouldn't even be having this conversation on Twitter, we'd be having it in front of a court. Thankfully, at this point though, Twitter was completely against Aaron, because how can you justify outright lying? Then again, they didn't seem to have an issue with justifying outright stealing, so I'm not sure why I have any faith in these people at all. It is very evident at this point that the only person in this situation begging for attention is Aaron. Still, he struggles with common decency and apparently a selective memory. I mean, I feel like this is a level below lack of common decency. He's just talking about things that didn't happen. I can't take this video seriously. All cozy in bed being a grump reminds me of a toddler that doesn't want to go to sleep. This person actually brings up a good point. Why are you live streaming in bed? What level of laziness is this? And I say this as somebody who makes very basic content on a daily basis. I guess I should just turn the camera this way. Hi, welcome back to me talking about whatever I want. That would be absolutely tragic. And yet somehow it wouldn't be nearly as tragic as Aaron Carter's entire internet existence. Person says, this man's ego is out of control. I just want to know where it's coming from. You have never been talented. You have always been Nick Carter's little brother. I could somehow find it within myself to understand had you ever created anything of relevance or worth in your entire life, but you haven't because you're incapable of doing so. So I really don't understand where this ego is stemming from when everything about you is fake. If I go to his profile right now, I can see that Aaron Carter has 625,000 followers. I can also see that he gets less than 200 likes per everything. How do you have 600,000 followers and less than 200 likes? Imagine if I was making the videos on this channel with my subscriber count right now and I got less than 200 views. Now, usually I would say, oh, I can't say for sure, you know, if this is bot. No, he bought the followers, okay? Either Aaron or someone on his team is desperate to keep the internet from realizing just how inconsequential everything he does is at this point. I personally believe 600,000 of those 625,000 followers are bots. 600,000 minimum. I mean, if you do have thousands and thousands of followers, where are they? How could you fall this far from relevance and then find it within yourself to treat other people badly? Another thing I've noticed is I think this man is running out of money. Now, here's the reason I say this. Selling merchandise isn't always an indication of running out of money. Speaking of which, this Nobody Cares hoodie is coming out soon. I actually designed this. You know, designing merch can just be something fun, but I took a look at the hoodies on his website. They're just embarrassingly bland. Like, they're clearly just there so people can buy them and he can get money. There's no artistic thought behind it. It's not remotely funny. Another reason that leads me to believe he's running out of money is he follows people who donate to him. If you have to follow people for them to donate to you, if you are following people for them to donate to you, how badly do you need donations? Even his latest music is irrelevant. I mean, he hasn't put out an album since 2018, but I'm really confused by how one of these songs has 87 million plays and a lot of the other ones don't even have 150,000. There's something really weird going on with Aaron Carter's numbers, and it rhymes with they're all bots. I'm on his Instagram right now, and a lot of the pictures are just him in bed, unironically. I mean, if your entire existence has devolved into lying around in bed, live streaming and angry tweeting and stealing other people's work to replace the lack of artistry in your own work, I'm glad that the entire world knows what kind of person you are right now, but I'm sad that you had to get any shred of attention in the process. But ultimately, JoJo's still 10 times more popular and talented than Aaron Carter will ever be, so ultimately, who cares?